Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell. And on this week, on the first run, we go through, I guess, one last spin around the Fox Marvelverse, as well as bringing in mutants into the MCU proper with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's, I think, definitely last turn as Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine. Is it everything we hoped it be? Is it going to bring the MCU back, right the ship? We shall see. As always, we'll give you the rundown of the big releases on physical media, our Viper video and streaming picks of the week, and then we're going to wrap it up with possibly a ranking of the Fox films and running down the big events at San Diego ComiCon. So how's that sound, Chris?
Sounds good. There's particularly one event that I am... I don't know. We'll talk about that. But let's start everything off with, what do you think, Matt? You want a clip from Deadpool 3? Or I guess the kids call it Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
That's not how it works.
It does now. Leave the bottle. I know you, bub. Nope, but I know you. Everybody knows me. I'm the Wolverine. Yes, you are, and I'm gonna need you to come with me right now. Look, lady, I'm not interested. Really getting into your cups. Why would I go with you? Because, unfortunately, I need you, and even more unfortunately, my entire world needs you.
Matt, what is Deadpool and Wolverine all about?
Well, it's your turn, Chris, so why don't you tell me?
Right.
You tell me what Deadpool and Wolverine is all about.
You'd think I'd eventually get this down. So, there you go. Deadpool, now we shoot, Matt, what are we, 6 years into the future? He's having troubles with the lady. He's trying to find a purpose for his life, not just going around doing contract killing and, being the anti-hero that he is. He retires from Deadpooling and gets a nice regular job selling cars, trying to do other stuff. He does kind of try and use his little time travel thing device that he lifted off a cable to join the Avengers. That doesn't go great. And then he ends up getting brought in by the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, or the Time something
Variance Authority.
Thank you. And they want to contract him to kind of basically wipe out his own timeline because they see how efficient he is. And the only way he figures out to stop that is to jump and find one of the other variant Wolverines to try and save his own universe and perhaps his relationship with the love of his life. Is that good? Or do you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I think the other big part of it is that with Wolverine's death in the Logan film, that untethers his universe. That is, Wolverine is the anchor to his universe, and now that there is no Wolverine anymore, it's pretty much doomed. And they just want to save Deadpool because they like him.
That's true. And usually it takes, tens of thousands of years for these universes to go out. But we got one bad guy or a good guy or whatever, Mr. Paradox, who just likes to speed things along a bit. So I think that's important too, you brought up. I was going to talk about the anchor being because I think it's going to be like a core question that I have for you in the film. But yeah, so that's it. And basically what Matt said in the opening kind of wraps up the Fox MCU.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I can tell, just looking at Chris's face in this, I'm not sure how positive he felt about this film. And...
Well, I'll say this. I was concerned, or so it was a big concern for a long time. Because we haven't had a Deadpool film since, was it 2000? When was the last one? 2012? 2018, excuse me, 2012. The first one didn't come out until 2016. Christ. We haven't had one in 2018. But in that time, all the Fox stuff happened. Disney basically bought the studio. And there was concern that you were going to get a PG-13 Deadpool film. And that all the things that made that character as exciting and fun to watch on the screen was basically going to be kind of sanitized for the Disney audience. Ryan Reynolds comes back. It's been a while. It's been, what has it been? 6 years? 8 years now? 6 years.
Yeah.
I'm really good at math.
You are very good at math.
So he said, no, everything's going to be okay. You're still going to get your Deadpool. And I'll have to say, I think you do. I think this is the Deadpooliest of all the Deadpool films. But maybe that's just the sheer number of Deadpools that we get. But My other concern is that it was going to be saddled with all the trappings of an MCU film that would kind of drag it down a bit, particularly this latest phase, which really, I think, just hasn't really been clicking.
Right.
And I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does run into those kind of issues because it's hard, it's got all the stuff now it has to do, but I think it may handle it pretty well and better than I expected.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think so. It's got the multiverse saga, if you will, has not gone over well. I think, even leaving out the stuff with Jonathan Majors and the fact that your big villain in Kang has now basically been jettisoned, and other problems as far as, reception of films and all of this stuff, with the exception of like No Way Home, like I could have taken a leave in most of these MCU films, right? I mean, most of them are entertaining, but they're not particularly good, right? They didn't feel like must-see viewing. But this one, I think, hinges on the fact that you've got Deadpool, you've got his ability, from the comics to break the fourth wall, to make these kind of meta jokes or whatever. And I think in this instance, that really goes a long way to making the kind of heavy lifting and the work it has to do to kind of salvage the multiverse saga. I think it does a lot. I mean, I think it really moves it along in the right way, and I think it somehow manages to work, even when it's getting into this whole meta multiverse stuff. A lot of it's really funny, and a lot of it is just a lot of inside baseball jokes. There are some excellent cameos in this that it's like, I was gobsmacked when some of it came along, including a first run favorite who makes an appearance of something that you never thought you maybe ever would get to see. And I think a lot of that builds a lot of goodwill. The fact that Hugh Jackman came back for one more time, and I think overall it's a lot of fun, and it works. And granted, is it top tier? Probably not, but it's been so long since I've had a lot of fun at one of these, like just unabashed fun at one of these, that I think it elevates it quite a bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, it does really kind of roast the MCU too. I mean, he takes a torch to some of that stuff. And the meta referencing of all this stuff doesn't really, I think, completely absolve it of the trappings that it's now been kind of, that it has to carry. But like Matt said, I think it does a good job of just being a really fun, entertaining kind of roller coaster ride of a film that's very winking at the audience the entire time. I can't tell you not only how excited I was to get an comic book accurate Wolverine.
That was amazing.
I mean, costume-wise, right? Especially finally with the helmet, and I love how they handle that too in the film. But also a shape-appropriate Wolverine. We actually get the appropriate heighted variant Wolverine, which is, I think, one of my favorite gags in the whole film. I don't want to run through all the different ones because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it was great getting everything that we did. Now, the fan service in this film, it doesn't fall flat, but it's a lot. I mean, and then part of the problem I have with the film is that I think structurally, the film's a little shaky. I feel like the scaffolding of this thing could kind of collapse at any moment, particularly when we spend a lot of time in the void. Perhaps a little too much for me, but I enjoyed getting Cassandra Xavier. She's from the Grant Morrison run, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Cassandra Nova is from his run. Yes.
I'm sorry, Cassandra Nova. I apologize. Charles' sister.
Right.
And that's actually one of the times when I had eased back into comics for a little while. I read that Grant Morrison run, and which I thought was fantastic, especially the reveal. And I can't remember the guy's name now. Of that guy being Magneto the whole time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was just absolutely awesome. But yeah. So I think a strength of the film is the emotional beats. I think they resonate really well. I think that Ryan Reynolds and Baccarin, their relationship here, I think, though it feels maybe a little kind of staged and forced to provide some conflict for him, I still think the emotional beats of him, but not only him, but with his adopted family, I think works pretty well, and particularly the emotional journey that I think that Hugh goes through as well as the worst of all the Wolverines, right? I think that the emotional core of the film actually works better than I thought it would.
Yeah. I agree. And I think usually using the term fan service is a bad, it's a 4-letter word, but to me, part of me says the fans of the MCU have had not a lot to celebrate, right? And this was another complaint with Spider-Man No Way Home. But what's wrong? Is it really so wrong to give your audience what they want, to make them happy, even if it is your fan service? I mean, those are your core people, right? So if you're giving them what they want, I don't see why that's a bad thing necessarily. And I think for Spider-Man and for a character like Deadpool, I think that it works for these characters. Would it work as well for Captain America, or Black Widow, Captain Marvel? No, probably not. And it hasn't in some cases, but I think it works well for Deadpool because he can take the piss out of it.
I have two issues with that. Well, not two issues, two thoughts on that. One, I don't have so much of an issue with fan service as long as it's done well. I don't want you to shoehorn a bunch of stuff in here just because oh, hey, people appreciate seeing, X. But the second part of that is a lot of those other characters you mentioned, and that's fine. I'm not going to take so much issue with that, but we're dealing with almost the entirety of the Fox Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there is a lot to engage with there, fan service wise, like Captain Marvel, Black Widow. No, because the surrounding universes of the characters that those storylines inhabit, there's not a lot of depth there. But in regards to the X-Men Fox run, there is a ton of stuff to call on.
But a lot of it's not very good.
True. Well, very true. Very, very true. But so one thing I wanted to ask you too, Matt, about this film is that Wolverine in the Fox universe was the anchor being. And I think, though, conceptually as a plot device, I'm not a big fan of that. But as a reality of a film franchise, that is very much the case. That is the reality of the situation, is that Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was the core driving force of that entire run. And I was reading an article today. Was it Matt? I can't remember who it was from now. I feel horrible. But making an argument that Deadpool now is the core being for the anchor being, for the MCU going forward, because he bridges both worlds now, but he's able to maintain or at least project the fun that's maybe been kind of missing from this phase.
Right. Yeah, maybe because, I don't know if we're going to get another Tom Holland Spider-Man. I'm curious to see the new Captain America film, but I don't know if Sam Wilson, Captain America, can anchor this whole thing, can run this whole ship. I guess we'll see. But Deadpool seems too jokey to kind of really at the same time keep it anchored. And it'd be weird to see him pop up in other MCU properties. Although I'm curious to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, but I think he could be the focal point potentially of the crossovering of the X-Men and the regular MCU. Though I guess it depends on who they cast maybe as Wolverine, because obviously Robert Downey Jr. was right for the MCU version, whatever that Earth is. Is that 616? Thank you. So, but now I don't know. Who is it now? I don't think I could really tell you.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they've been struggling with for so long. They haven't had this character that really people latch onto. Spider-Man had at the beginning of this phase came in and that was it. And then, Captain Marvel didn't resonate. None of the Eternals resonated. Thor, the last Thor film kind of petered out. Chris Evans is gone. So like they that's part of what the problem is. They don't have like a focus. They don't have a person that is anchoring this whole thing, to kind of steal a phrase. It was RDJ, but then, you know, Hemsworth and Evans and Holland, they all kind of took a step back, and, you know, who they tried to replace them with, it didn't work out. Right. So, you know, you can't rely on Jonathan Majors Kang. You can't rely on, you know, Brie Larson and Captain Marvel. Maybe Tom Hiddleston and Loki, his TV shows were pretty good, but he took a step back too. So like, I don't know.
I think I know who it might be. So I think you're right that Deadpool probably can't be for the entire thing just because of the niche that he inhabits. Just the profanity alone, I think, removes him from that capacity. If I had to guess, who's one of the most charismatic actors that everybody loves right now? It's Pascal Perez.
Okay, Pedro Pascal?
Oh, did I say Pascal Perez? I'm sorry. The former Yankee pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
Pascal.
Pedro
player? Pascal. Is it his brother Melito who I think disappeared? Like he went home to his home country and then he just disappeared and nobody ever heard from him ever again.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Anyway. Yeah, Pedro Pascal. It's Pedro Pascal. I bet Ed, Mr. Fantastic too. And I'm curious to see how that all wraps, because that's first films in the 60s, right?
Right.
So I don't. But if I had to guess, it's either going to be they got to hire somebody who's charismatic as all hell to be Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or it's Pedro.
Yeah. So I mean, you're right. So I mean, they're going to give it a go with Marvel's First Family and the Fantastic Four, and we'll see how that's received if we get an actual good Fantastic Four film. And then the real test would be like, who are the X-Men going to be? Like, who is it? Which ones are you going to even put in there? I mean, obviously you're going to have Xavier, you're going to have Cyclops, you're going to have Wolverine, but other than that, like it could
Colossus is already there.
Yeah. So who's it going to be? So I guess we'll just have to see. And like, again, I was never the biggest Wolverine fan, but even I don't see who else could be the focal point for an X-Men movie. It's always been much about a team, right? And about individuals and, you know, how their personalities and stuff clash. But Wolverine's always been kind of the throughput.
Yeah. We'll have to see how that all shakes out. Good times, man. I gotta tell you, Marvel must be very happy that they did not use Dr. Doom as of yet, that they can shift over to him as the main bad guy. And also, too, we'll talk about it in the final segment, because I have some thoughts about him and then potentially the next Avengers film that I'm hoping they don't do the new version of it. I hope they do the classic 80s version of it, but I don't know. We'll see. Anything else, Matt? Like, I like the Fox MCU montage at the end.
Yeah, that was weirdly poignant. Again, I didn't really like most of those movies, but I mean, it was kind of weird to see all that stuff. So it was good. And you know what? I like the jokes. I like some of the cameos are great. I think the whole film is just a lot of fun.
Young, tiny Hugh Jackman was weird to see.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? Like, he looked like he just rolled straight off of like graduated high school or something. Like, there he was. Is
there anybody else in Hollywood too who's probably more upset than like Doug Ray Scott?
Yeah, I know.
Could you imagine the career? That poor guy. For the uninitiated, if you don't know, Doug Ray Scott was actually originally cast as Wolverine. He was the number one choice. Jackman was the second choice, but he had to go back for reshoots on Mission Impossible 2, or at least they didn't finish filming in time, so he had to bow out. And that was that for poor Doug Ray Scott. So that's that. Matt, what are you going to give the old Deadpool and Wolverine as a grade?
I will acknowledge that this is rose-colored glasses, but I'm going to give it an A- just because it's the most fun I've had at an MCU film in a long time.
There you go. I'm going to go B+ for myself, so we're really not that far off. In fact, I originally had it a B, but you talked me into it. And I will say, too, even though I hate people for the most part, it was fun being at the theater and having it be absolutely packed. You know, I mean, the concession line I went to the AMC West Shore, which is the smaller. It's only 14 screens. The Veterans is 24. That's the bigger one. But I like the 14 because I call it my hidden or sneaky Dolby. because everybody goes to Veterans. Few people go here, but this theater sold out. Like, they've been selling out all over the place too. By the way, this film has done fantastic. It blew through its budget domestically over the weekend, and it pulled in another $245 almost $1 million internationally on top of that. It cost $200 million to make, but it was great just seeing all these people having I will say some of the cameo things kind of fell flat. I don't know if a lot of people knew or caught the first run favorite.
Some of those were real deep cuts, and I went with my mother-in-law and my daughter, and I had to explain to them why that was so funny and why I was so excited about it. Because they didn't mean anything, or even some of the other, we'll say Wolverine variants, besides Tiny Wolverine that they had, they didn't get that, but that was really deep cut stuff for people, nerds like me and you.
Yeah, and then the Russian shows up, which I didn't expect,
right.
And I didn't realize, I knew Psylocke was there, but I had no idea that Callisto was there, and there's a couple other people too who show up that I didn't realize till after I walked out of the theater when I was looking stuff up that some of these other classic kind of X-Men characters actually did appear in the film as part of the Void's kind of gang. All right. Good, but it was nice. Oh, I will say, though, my theater was warm, which was not a nice experience at all. It did cool down eventually, but when I first got in there, I think it must have been a balmy, 78 degrees or something like that. Usually it's, it's freezing in there. But...
Sea of Humanity, all mouth breathing in anticipation.
Yeah, I'm shocked I don't have COVID. So there you go, folks. If you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay. Let's keep rolling, Matt. And I just looked at my meter on my audio, and it's barely moving. I got terrified for a second there. But hopefully everything's okay here.
Hopefully we can amplify it.
Yeah. Let's talk about what's coming up on physical media this upcoming Tuesday. It's sometime in August.
How long do you think this will take?
7 minutes.
7. Not 8, not 6.
2 minutes to get across to 110 to Normandy to Venice, 3 minutes. Over to Union is 1 + 1 for shit happens.
Okay if I time you?
Knock yourself out.
What do I get if you're wrong? A free ride?
You get an apology. I already offered my free ride today.
To who?
Some girl.
You get a date with her?
First time in L.A.?
No. Tell you the truth, whenever I'm here, I can't wait to leave. Sprawled out, disconnected. That's me. You like it?
It's my home.
17 million people. This is a country, the 5th biggest economy in the world, and nobody knows each other. I read about this guy who gets on the MTA here, dies. 6 hours he's riding the subway before anybody notices his corpse doing laps around L.A., people on and off sitting next to him. Nobody notices.
I know you're asking yourself right now, Chris, Collateral's already available in 4K. Why is that here? Well, there's a new group of steelbooks being released in 4K, if that's your thing. This is going to be coming up on this upcoming Tuesday, August 6th. Matt, we're already in August. So, as you heard, Collateral is getting a steelbook. Dragonheart, was it Dennis Quaid, Sean Connery film, where Sean Connery voices the dragon. And then Hackers, all getting 4K steelbooks. Universal Rewards, Matt, I don't know if you're familiar. Universal had a rewards program. Where you bought a Universal film, you get credit with Universal Rewards, and you get enough where you could get a free movie from them. And basically, buying one movie would basically translate into a free digital movie. And they change what they were every month. And I loved it. I probably downloaded 7 things from them over the last year or two. And they shut it down last month. And Dragonheart was one of the last ones that I downloaded. I got that in Session 9 with the remaining points that I had. But I was really disappointed with that. I really liked that program. But it is gone now. Not a lot coming out this week, Matt. So we're actually going to start at number 3.
Can you hit it from there?
I got 3 shots. That's enough.
Can't argue with a confident man.
3 Babes is being released, Matt. This is just came out, but I think it's about a young woman who gets pregnant and her best friend kind of, I don't know, it's a comedy. Alana Glazer, I believe, it features in it, includes some deleted scenes and then making of featurettes. I know it's number 2, but I love this one so much.
4.
All right, number 2, we're going to go with Bad Company, Fun City Editions. is putting this out. There's a limited edition, which has a slipcase exclusive to their website, and a standard release that doesn't. This is a Jeff Bridges Western. A God-fearing Ohio boy dodging the Civil War draft arrives in Jefferson City, Matt, where he joins up with a hard-scrabble group of runaways heading west. Brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative, as well as a newly recorded audio commentary by critic Walter Chow. And then one.
There can be only one.
Bill and Ted's Triumphant Trilogy, getting released in 4K from Shout Factory. You can get all 3 films in 4K. Previously, Bogus Journey was not available in 4K, and they're also going to release them individually. So you can pick up Bogus Journey and Face the Music as independent releases as well, or buy all 3 as part of Shouts Factory box set. Matt, your Viper Video pick of the week. Remember, heading over to ViperVideoTampa.com. I'm going a little something different this week. Shelby's got in 2 copies of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre board game, which is supposed to be a lot of fun and retails for about $60. But head over to Viper Video, give Shelby a call if you're interested in it. But it's supposed to be a lot of fun. Now, I'm not going to get it because I'm not going to get Mrs. First Run to play a horror-based video game. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But in case you were eyeing this or curious about it, you can pick it up now. Matt, which would be streaming this week?
Yeah, so I'm going to recommend you go check out the other 2 Deadpool films. They're both available on Disney Plus, and you can also watch the first one on Max as well if you don't have Disney Plus. Weirdly, the second one's only available on Disney Plus, and I think maybe Fubo or something like that. But, before you go check out the third one, go check out the first 2.
Did you do any revisiting prior to Deadpool and Wolverine?
I did watch Deadpool 2 weirdly after we got home from the movies. It was on that afternoon, so we weren't doing anything, and we just watched it.
I watched all 3. So I watched Deadpool, I watched part 2, and then I watched Logan. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched Logan probably since it came out.
Right.
So it was fun to kind of revisit all 3 of those prior to checking out the latest film. They're all still really good. I still think the second Deadpool one is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Of the Deadpool films, but Logan still, man, I had forgotten how kind of intense, but also kind of emotionally resonant in the depth of that film. It's, I don't know, sometimes it feels a little heavy-handed and self-serious for me, maybe even just a little too much, but it's still, as a superhero film, it's one of the better ones you'll see that's been made in the past, 20, 25 years, for sure. All right, Matt, let's wrap everything up. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about the San Diego ComiCon, and then Matt and I will, I guess we're going to rank our Fox Marvel films. I did not include the Fantastic Four films, so that's it, right? Because Sony had Spider-Man. That's it. Okay, here's the one thing that I am really concerned or on the fence about, and I'm curious for Matt's opinion.
Now, listen, if we're gonna bring Victor Von Doom to the screen, and he is one of the more complex characters in all of comics, right, Kevin? I mean, this is potentially one of the more entertaining characters in all of fiction. If we're gonna do this, if we're gonna bring him to movie theaters worldwide, then I think we're gonna need the greatest actor in the world to play that character. Wow. Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
All right, so I don't know if you're hearing that clip.
Yeah,
somebody's yeah. So Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as Doctor Doom. So a lot of stuff, as Matt had alluded to earlier, has been up in the air in regards to the next phase of the MCU, particularly because of the issues with Jonathan Majors and jettison of Kang as the next main villain. Destin Daniel Cretton, who has originally been tasked to direct the film, the first one at least, I believe, who did our beloved Short Term 12, another first-run favorite movie here. And he bailed out. And there was rumors back and forth for a while that who was going to take over, And, well, it's officially now the Russos are back, helming the two projects. But Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as Dr. Doom. And honestly, Matt, I think it's a horrible idea. Where do you fall on it?
So, let me ask you this.
Like, this is bad fan service, is what I feel like. It's like the Russos had no idea where to go or what to do. Majors has totally pooched this entire thing because he's a horrible guy. Mm-hmm. Well, what are we going to do? Well, we can shift to Doom. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's Mads Mikkelsen isn't available. There's nobody else you could cast in that role. Granted, I know he was already in the Doctor Strange film, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? And plus, Doom is... What? He's played with the Scarlet Centurion is Doom, right? And then isn't there a Kang that's also Doom
I don't know.
or something like that? Anyway.
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. So I guess... I don't think I really, really, really would be surprised if we saw Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, but not as capital D Doom. Like, he's not in the getup, he's not in the armor. Like, I don't think we're going to get a Fantastic Four thing where you have Robert Downey Jr. running around for, 3/4 of a movie, and then at the end, at the third act, he suddenly turns evil, and now he's Dr. Doom kind of thing. I think we're going to see RDJ, and I say see, you may see his eyes, you're going to hear him put on a voice, and he's going to become the character. So I don't think it really matters necessarily that it is RDJ, because I almost view it as voiceover work. He's not going to be recognizable as RDJ. And even if he does take it off, it's going to be like a back of the head Darth Vader thing where you're just going to see a bunch of scars, right? So I don't think it really matters. And if RDJ is willing to do it, now what I do have a concern about is if he is coming back, that seems to say to me that Doom is not going to be around for a long time. And that seems to be concerning. How are they going to build him into this Thanos level thing as if he's coming back all the time, if he's not going to be in a lot of films? But honestly, I do see it's a little fan servicey. I am very skeptical, but I don't think by the fact that at some point you're going to just forget that this is Robert Downey Jr. It's not going to register because you're not going to be seeing his face.
I guess so. I mean, listen, I'm not expecting an Oppenheimer level performance here where all the Iron Man stuff was kind of wiped away from my mind watching that film.
Sure.
But, I don't know. He better do a goddamn accent. All right? I mean, if he's straight...
This is the guy...
I mean, he's not going to be Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., but if we don't have some kind of, Eastern European...
Okay. Dude wore blackface and talked in a Southern accent for an entire film, and then switched to an Australian accent at the end of that film. I guarantee you he will completely dive into that role and be talking like Dracula the whole time.
But there's nobody else. Why? I don't understand why you couldn't have just gone with somebody else. I don't know.
Maybe does RDJ say he wants to do it? Does he say, tell them, if you want me to play Doom, I'll come back? And do you say no to that?
It screams like we're out of ideas to me, is what it screams to me. That's all. I
mean, here's the thing. Again, if you were going to see him without the mask on, if you had to see Robert Downey Jr.'s face, I would agree with you. I think it would be too disjointed, but who's the next actor? Who's going to be? Who else would you want to do this?
I'm sure I could give me 5 minutes and I could come up with probably 5 English actors probably who could do it. Patty Considine. I don't know. Eddie
Redmayne. Simon Pegg. You're gonna throw Nick Frost up there.
Let me just go through Guy Ritchie's oeuvre of people. I don't know. But yeah, no. Daniel Craig. I don't. I don't. I feel like you could have. It shows to me a lack of imagination. I guess is really what it is.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. I mean, here's the
faults.
I mean, here's the thing. RDJ can act, right? So that the performance is at least going to be interesting. And that's more than what you can say in most cases, right? I mean, who else are you going to throw up there that you haven't said that, maybe, we'll see. I mean, Willem Dafoe, like, I don't know. I mean, Green Goblin up there, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't know.
I think by the time this comes around, when you watch it, at the very least, when we're doing this, however many years from now, maybe you're not going to be blown away from it, but you will say, you know what, that was a fun performance, or at least that was a good performance, and you're going to forget about it.
Part of me thinks too, it's not even so much that he's not going to give me a good performance, and it's not that. It's just a lack of imaginative thinking. There's like nobody else you could come up with to do that role would have the gravitas and the to pull that off. There must be hundreds of people that could do that.
I mean, I guess. Maybe. I mean, I guess it is. Maybe it is a bit of studio thinking. But guess what? If they get this wrong, they're in deep shit. Because like, where are they going to go from there?
Yeah. And I'll say, too, I think I would not be surprised at all if Robert Downey Jr. would be more than happy to sell his voice to some kind of AI generative device where he'd be able to play Doctor Doom for the next 100 years. So I'm not so worried about the fact that my man's 60 years old. So
I'm not worried about it either. It's not going to be
Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. I'm just going to keep throwing names at you for the rest of the episode. Charles Dance,
who's like 85. He'll be dead before they can even finish filming it.
It's not Robert Downey Jr.
I mean, I guess, but like, I don't know.
I'm just sad. I'm sad Alan Rickman's gone because I think that would be
okay. Well, he's dead. There's not a lot we can do about that.
Christian Bale
is like against these type of movies. He was so blown. He's like over Batman. He did Terminator. It wasn't received well. I think he's done with this kind of stuff. He's too good for it.
Cillian Murphy. Mark Strong.
Why does it have to be a British guy?
Because American audiences are dumb. And they want to have English equals foreign accent no matter what part of the world they're from.
What, you don't want to have Clooney dressed up as Dr. Doom doing a Transylvania accent?
Maybe I do. Ray Winstone, no, that wouldn't work. I need like a Cockney kind of Ray Winstone if I'm ever going to get him in anything. I need that. I don't know. It's just unimaginative. Matt, all right. I want a Beyonder. I don't want no stupid other kind of behind the scene. What was the new Secret Wars too? It wasn't the Beyonder, right?
I don't think I ever read it. I don't really know what it was. What the deal with the new Secret Wars was.
Gary Oldman. Sorry, continue. I want the Beyonder.
The Beyonder.
For Secret Wars.
Yeah, for Secret Wars.
I want the legit. I want all of our heroes and villains transported to a battle world assembled by the Beyonder and. Then they all have to team up and fight a superpowered Doctor Doom.
Was Mojo in that? Was that on there as well?
No,
that's
not pre-Mojo. I think Longshot didn't show up until a little after all that.
Do you think audiences are going to buy a Beyonder, putting them in a battle world to do this?
Why not?
It's weird. It's very comic booky. It's very comic booky.
I'm sure that the comic book movie is going to be comic booky. I didn't mean to put you out like that.
I mean, look, you're not preaching to me. You're not trying to sell me. You're trying to sell somebody who hasn't read any of these comics before.
Yeah. Jude Law. Jack O'Connell.
Jesus Christ.
Sam Jackson.
You know what? That's a good one. I'll accept
Ben Kingsley. I'd go young. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Why don't we get we got to find some kind of Eastern European actor with some gravitas.
Bernard Hill. Wait, did he just die? He's dead. Man,
you know what? I'm gonna send a letter. I hope RDJ listens to this and he hears you shitting all over him and he puts in the performance of his life.
He's one of the greatest lurking actors, if not greatest actors of all time. So no, that's not on him. My issue is not with him. All right. Let's see. Eastern European actors over 40. Let's see here. What do we got? The Littlefinger guy from the Game of Thrones.
Peter Baelish?
Whatever his name is.
Well, that's not his real name. That was the guy from that was his character's name.
Yeah, the Google doesn't really pop up with the Eastern European actors as quickly as it does the English actors. Google is racist. Prejudiced against...
Get a Skarsgård in there?
Why not? They're all in most movies. Oscar Isaac. Tom Hardy. Okay, so I went Beyonder. Are you gonna? What about you? You're not on board with the Beyonder?
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, I having when everybody says Secret Wars, I always think of that Secret Wars. I always think of Battle World and the black suited Spider-Man and all that stuff that led out of that. That's kind of what I hope I get. I just don't know if that's what we're going to get.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about Doctor Doom, and I can't remember what version of the story the characters was, is that he's not entirely scarred. Mm-hmm. He's got one small scar,
right,
like on his face,
right,
and that imperfection drives him mad,
right.
And I hope too they get into the occult stuff.
That'd be cool, yeah.
So we'll have to see about that. All right, so we're gonna find out where adamantium comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to all this, right? So that's finally. People are finally going to be addressing all the Sentinel,
mm-hmm.
the Celestial, excuse me.
Yep.
That's in the northern hemisphere of the planet.
Yep.
That people just seem to forget after the Eternals film, but I guess that's what it comes from, right? Is harnessed from the body of the Celestial.
Yep.
The Giancarlo Esposito is Sidewinder, leader of the Serpent Society. That came out at ComiCon.
Mm-hmm.
I always like the Serpent Society, so I'm kind of curious about that. I'm a little excited about that. I'm not super jazzed about Harrison Ford.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see how that movie turns out.
Yeah. But I mean, and they moved back Blade again, or they didn't really talk about Blade. So I think our guess about
ever coming out.
No, Jordan Peele. That's why they brought in Jordan Peele so they could see if they could get him into rewrites or directing Blade.
Maybe. Yeah. I think he needs to have some kind of input to that film and not David Goyer. Not David Goyer. One more time. Not David Goyer. Gerard Butler is Doctor Doom. I'm done. That's it.
Gerard Butler.
Ewan McGregor. Viggo Mortensen. There it is. There's your ticket.
Sure. There it is.
I think Viggo would be a good Doctor Doom. I think he's a little too hoity-toity and artsy for that, but that's fine. Fantastic Four films called First Steps. Fine. There's some Thunderbolts footage there as well. Not much revealed, per se. Supposedly everybody's saying Pugh is going to be really the star of the film. My reaction to that is, what? Yeah, of course she is.
Right.
The woman is magnetic.
Yeah.
And not in like in a Magneto way. She commands every screen she's ever on, so... I'm not surprised with that. There is a new horror anthology going to be showing up on Peacock. James Wan is one of the producers, called Teacup.
Ooh, okay.
Which I'm intrigued by.
Nice.
And then there's a Boys prequel series, Matt.
Yeah.
With, what is his name? Soldier Boy and then the Nazi lady.
Yeah, right. With Stormfront.
I just started season 3. I think I just of the first episode in.
Okay.
So...
All right,
we'll see. I did see the first one. It was that thing about the guy who shrunk. Was that who you were talking about, or is that something else?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has plays a game with his boyfriend.
Yes. Yeah, that was different.
That was something.
Matt, how upset are the Joker stands going to be when they realize they're watching a jukebox musical?
They're going to be really upset. Well, actually, I don't know if they have the self-awareness. I think I'm going to most enjoy, probably more than watching the film, because I am not excited for this film at all. Like twisting themselves in the knots to try and justify it.
I wonder if that's what they'll just all of a sudden reflexively just say, "Oh no, it was awesome. I love these kind of movies."
Right.
Just to defend it, even if it's horrible.
Yeah.
Which my anticipation is it will be, but I don't really know.
Not good.
All right. Did you hear anything else about ComiCon you wanted to bring up, or you good?
I'm good. I think we're all set.
All right. Let's go ahead, Matt, and try and put together our X-Men list. Right now, I have them listed in chronological order, as the kids say.
All right. Sounds good.
And that's, I should say, release date. not by when they occurred in a timeline.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
So you have X-Men, X2. Then you have. Oh wait, I don't know if that's true because I have Last Stand. Yeah, Last Stand. Then you have X-Men Origins, Wolverine, First Class. You have then The Wolverine, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, Deadpool, Dark Phoenix, Logan, Deadpool 2, The New Mutants, and Wolverine. Excuse me, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay. All
right, Matt. So what are we thinking? What do you see? You want to start with what the worst film is out of the entire round?
Let's try. It's tough. It can be pretty close, but I still think X3 is the worst of those films. What about you?
The Last Stand?
Yeah, X-Men: The Last Stand.
No, I think Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine is the worst. But they're definitely bottom two, so we can at least start there.
All right.
Well, I don't know. I really have a disdain for X-Men Apocalypse.
I know. I really hate X-Men Apocalypse as well. That's bad. I think my problem with X-Men Last Stand is that it's really where you started seeing them start to fumble. Like it's the first one where you really start to see them fumble.
Let's go back to it.
All
so
right.
I think we're agreed that they're our bottom two. Well, I don't know. What about New Mutants though?
Yeah, New Mutants is bad. Dark Phoenix is bad.
I'm gonna drop Apocalypse.
Yeah,
down,
okay.
too.
I think I like New Mutants better than I like Apocalypse.
I would agree with that.
Do we like Dark Phoenix more than we like New Mutants? I think I still like.
I think so.
New Mutants more than I like Dark. You like Dark Phoenix better?
You know what? I'm okay with that.
All right. Now we're getting into films. So then we go the Wolverine, right?
Yeah, the Wolverine's weird because like tonally that film is a mess.
Yeah.
Like it wants to be this big superhero action film, then it turns mystery character study. Then it becomes this kind of just rote, kind of cliched action film. It just doesn't know what it wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. So I think that's fair. I've never watched the black and white version. Have I seen the directors? Oh wait, no, that's Logan. There's a director's cut of the Wolverine, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've seen that.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. Yeah. All right.
And then it's either going to be X-Men First Class or I think personally then it would be X-Men First Class for me.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay. And then it starts to get more difficult. I would think X-Men would be next for me personally.
I'm okay with that. So you're going to go X-Men First Class, then X-Men.
Yeah.
I think we need to throw in a Deadpool at this point.
Yeah. I guess the first Deadpool?
Okay.
Although I haven't seen the first one in a while, so I can't remember I don't know if I like it better than the third one or not.
Yeah. Matt, I think that's my listing right there. That's how I would do the remaining films.
Yeah, I think I would too. I mean, you could probably get me on Deadpool and Wolverine over Deadpool 2 in some instances, but I think that's fair.
So, since you're probably not going to be able to see this, folks, after X-Men, we would go Deadpool and Wolverine, then Deadpool 2. It's funny that all three of them run in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Then Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Then Logan. Then X2.
Yeah.
X2 being the best film in the franchise.
Yeah, I think it is pinnacle of those. I think Logan, in a lot of ways, is maybe a better movie, but I think X2 is a better comic book movie, a better X-Men movie.
It's much more influential.
True.
That was you got people. You don't realize 2003 how big a deal X2 was. I mean, X-Men was a popular film, but X2 kind of set the mold for like years after that for like superhero films.
Yeah.
So X2 was a big film. Much more influential, I think, than Logan was. Logan was a great story and a great film, but X2 was just a trendsetter. It was a big deal.
Yeah, fair.
So, all right. So we're looking at closing though from bottom to top, worst to best. X-Men Origins Wolverine to The Last Stand. I really think that Origins, I have to put my foot down, that Origins is the worst film that's come out of this entire franchise.
Okay, fine.
And then The Last Stand we have. Then Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix. New Mutants. The Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
First Class. The first X-Men film. The first Deadpool. And then Deadpool 2 or Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you want to sell me on swapping those two out?
So I think my favorite part of Deadpool 2 is the X-Force scene, which I think is just chef's kiss perfect. Like, I love that. But honestly, before that, I was less on board with it. I mean, I think a lot of the kind of, death of Vanessa kind of, sad Deadpool stuff, it goes on for a while, and I just, it's not as compelling to me.
Okay.
But I mean, honestly,
Okay.
if you're splitting, I mean, it could be just recency bias on my part.
Yeah, I'm all right to swap it out for now.
Okay.
I think that's fine. So there you go.
All right.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, Last Stand, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, The New Mutants. Wow, I wonder if The New Mutants is as high on anybody else's list. The Wolverine,
I mean,
First Class. So good.
Do you think it's? I mean, we can swap it with Dark Phoenix. It's been a while since I've seen Dark Phoenix. I don't remember how particularly good it is, but we could swap it. I mean, but it's still definitely better than X-Men Apocalypse or the bottom three.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll move it. I think I'll go Dark Phoenix above New Mutants for now.
Okay.
So Wolverine, Last Stand, Apocalypse, The New Mutants, Dark Phoenix, The Wolverine, First Class, X-Men, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, Days of Future Past, Logan, and then X2.
Yeah, that's right.
So there you go. The first Deadpool 2, I gave a B+. You gave a B.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't seem to find the first film on our report card. So, unfortunately. There you go, folks. So you can find that on my Letterboxd, which is just Chris Scalzo, all one word. That's kind of like the official TFR account.
Mm-hmm.
Matt has his own. But I'll have to, I'll rename that list, the first run X-Men ranking list there. So
very nice.
There you go, folks. How would you order all those films? What are your thoughts on RDJ as Dr. Doom? Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, what's coming up next week on the big show?
We're catching up with the latest from M. Night Shyamalan and Trap.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's good.
Me too.
You can really go either way. So, but I'm intrigued. And then the following week, Matt, though, I think is going to be... Oh, no, not the following week. It's the week after when we hit Alien Romulus. That's going to be fun.
That is going to be fun.
Yeah, Lady Juan reminded me that we'll have to do a screen run episode of that. And I guess trailer dropped today for the latest Kevin Smith movie as well.
The 4:30 movie?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that yet, though. I got to check it out. But
screen run never dies.
That's right. In the meantime, you can check us out at thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows, a report card, which I think Matt, or at least one of our interns, has to update. It's been a while again. And then you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. Head over to Apple Podcasts. Give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. And I guess that will be that. So thank you so much for listening this week, as always. We love you all very much. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you all soon.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude. Dust. Wind. Dude.